Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Tone's Market Analysis for Monday, March 13th. Thank you for joining me. Live viewers, please forward the tweets, let other people know. I like doing these live as well. And I've been really busy. Sorry for not having this out on Sunday night like I usually do. But well, we'll get this going right now. So we'll see how it is. As you can see from my blog, as crazy as it sounds, like the most important thing is literally my blog because I'm a one-man show and I haven't updated this blog since February 19th. So this should show how busy and behind I am. And as crazy as that sounds, I am so many entries behind on my blog, and I am going to try and catch up on that. Once again, please support Magic Money documentary, the only documentary I've been in. It's really good for beginners. And if you're going to watch it on Vimeo, then please use the discount code TONE. Should save you like 30%. Okay. So I do have to plug that movie in. I don't even make any money off this movie, by the way. This is just my view. Opinion on debt ceiling. You know what? I'm going to talk about that at the end. I know nothing. I am so far behind. I can't even give an opinion on the debt ceiling because I've just been completely behind in economics. I've been behind on trading. And I was going to probably talk about that right leading into Q&A because I think I'm doing too much. And I don't know if, I mean, something has to give, right? This is why there actually may not be another crypto scam episode for a little while. I just don't have the time. And I'll talk about that going into Q&A. All right, let me start closing some of these tabs as I go. All right, well, as usual, I am going to talk about the markets. This is like my only chance to look at the markets these days. So I am going to go through it real quick. So here's the S&P 500. We had that 9 on that last blow off top in the S&P 500, which kind of makes sense. And then we had a bad day following that. Combining these two candles, I'm actually not sure if like my mouse is like when I hover over with the mouse, I'm not even sure if maybe I can change the thing here. I'm on the arrow. Maybe I can use the cross. I don't know if that's better or worse, but anyway. So if you combine these two blow-off candles together, you get the shooting star candle. And I know that's not conventional, but that's kind of what you get. This is also a very clear candle pattern known as a bearish harami. It's the opposite of like a bearish engulfing, bullish engulfing, which starts to set us on the path for a pullback. We've now gone up a few days, but and we broke the downtrend numerical count, but the markets are still a little overbought. So there's probably a little more weakness left, but at its current stage, things are completely neutral. Taking a look at the weekly, again, there's not much here. This is just a monster run since the election. And just a monster run since the election. We're due for a little bit of a pullback, even if it's a pullback back to like 2330 or 2300 even. I mean, this is nothing. I mean, ideally, you want the pullback back to like 2200. So even if we crash down to 2200, I will see that as being almost nothing. I mean, even if we crash to 2150 even, I mean, that's kind of what you want. You want these pullbacks. We had this pullback to the 50-day. We had this huge pullback to the 200-day. And now look how extended we are. I mean, even if we pull back to the 200-day at 2000, it would be totally reasonable that the bull market will go on And I'm very bullish for the market this year. The stock market made 25% last year, and I think it's still undervalued. I think the stock market will make more than 25% this year. I think we're looking at like a 30% S&P 500 rise into the end of the year. Of course, we can take this week by week. I don't have to. That's a can always change my mind on that prediction. But as of now, I see nothing stopping the U.S. stock market at this stage in the game. Though I have not had time to keep up with the economic news, which is very unfortunate. All right, let's take a look at gold. Here's gold daily. Again, I talked about it last week. Let's see if I can move this chart over. Not what I wanted to do. Oh, come on. All right, let's try this again. All right, here we go. Again, here's a gold daily. You had this hammer candle come right off of a Fibonacci line, followed by a shooting star candle the following day. I mean, these candles aren't all that relevant because you need more than one day to make a trend, and we're already down tonight. I mean, 1200 is a nice round number. I don't believe it's going to hold. Might have drawn this red arrow a bit prematurely. So we're going to go ahead and take this arrow. And I'm just going to stick it right here. Because even if gold goes back up to hit this 50-day moving average, I mean, we're working on a nice fat head and shoulders. And if we complete this head and shoulders, we're looking at a head between a high of 1260 and a low of 1180. That is an $80 difference. So taking $80 from 1180 to the downside, we're looking, back to 1100. Well, not even, right? If we go back to 1100, oh, this is from December. Okay. Yeah, if we go back to 1100, we're not going to be at 6-year lows. We'll be pretty close. So, but yeah, I'm fairly bearish gold. That's the daily. Let's take a look at the weekly. Here's the weekly. I mean, that arrow was kind of drawn fairly perfectly. I don't remember when I drew it. It's been on my chart for at least a week or two. So, I mean, yeah, we're looking at lows. I mean, and it's not that crazy, right? Because remember, the stock market is really, really strong. People are still, as much as people hate on Trump, it's not the social aspect, it's the economic aspect. And if Trump able to lower taxes and people are happy with the U.S. economy, I don't have the chart, but like the last jobs report, I actually haven't seen this jobs report. The February jobs report put jobs at like a what do you call it? Job losses at like a 44-year low. I mean, it's look, you can claim that the numbers are fake, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they're fake or not. What matters is results and if it's making you money. And it's kind of irrelevant, right? Like people can scream, oh, well, the unemployment numbers are so good because no one's working. Well, sure, but that's fine. You can claim that. Whether it's a conspiracy or whether it's the truth and whether the numbers are bullshit, the end result is investors believe the numbers are legit, and they're proving it by investing their money in the stock market and not investing their money in things like government bonds and not investing their money in things like gold. So at the end, it's results. And yeah, every now and then you get a recession and things reset, and then the cycle starts again. So I see nothing technically, I see nothing fundamentally that should drive gold to the upside. I see absolutely nothing technically that should drive gold to the upside. If anything, gold was too weak to even make it to this historical trend line. So here's my trend line from the high. Oh wow! So I have to really zoom out here. So let's zoom out. Okay, so this is a fairly significant trend line. you can see that it has 1, 2, and now like an entire month and a half worth of points, and then one more spike, right, intra-week spike right to the line. And this time around, we couldn't even make it back to the line. We got rejected by a Fibonacci and the 50-week moving average. So if anything, gold is even weaker than technicals would suggest, which it isn't really looking well for gold in the near term. Get me back above this trend line, and I'll be less skeptical. Get me above this Fibonacci line, and I'll change my mind on long-term gold until I see that gold is going to new lows. And once it gets to new lows, it becomes a double bottom, which means it's going to be broken to the downside. At least in my experience in the market, double bottoms, double tops are there to be broken in the same direction. Here's oil. So my oil expectations of a rise in oil haven't really worked out. Last week looked like a terrible week for oil. However, I guess it's time to move these arrows. I have not yet given up on oil. And I am actually gonna, this may be a little silly. I might be giving oil a little more credit than I should. This weekly candle is very, very weak with absolutely no buying at the end of the week, creating no wick, creating no hammer style candle. So the expectation that the 50-week moving average is going to hold it the way it held here and here is maybe a little bit on hope. I also do not have a position in oil. I was long oil. I had taken that position off the table. So I'm going to give the 50-day moving average a little bit of a benefit of the doubt that it can once again hold it up, though my confidence in it isn't all that strong. However, I would need to see oil below 45 in order to consider it bearish. And that would be kind of unfortunate, right? Because if oil goes below 45 and then I go bearish, that kind of means I missed the down move. And that's okay. This also means that I'm not really looking to trade oil right now because it's in this weird space. So when I draw this arrow, this is not with a lot of confidence whatsoever. This is more like a 52% confidence that we're going to go back up to my head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders target, or at least halfway up the target. And if we're having a bad week this week in oil, these arrows will go away, and I will now be bearish oil because my long-term view for oil is about $20 a barrel, because that's probably what it's worth as alternative energy starts to actually go up. Let's glance at the daily chart of oil. I haven't looked at the daily chart of oil in a while. It so happens that I pulled it up today for like the first time in a month or two. And my numerical count right here ended on a 9, which is kind of bearish. So a 9 isn't, and it ended on a daily doji candle, which usually implies in this situation a 1 to 4 day up move, and then the continuation of the bearish trend. So since I'm too lazy to create new arrows, I'm just gonna grab these arrows and I'm gonna, I'm just gonna, turn them like this. So it's very possible that we're gonna see a bit of a, and I'm gonna grab this arrow and I'm gonna put it like yay. So, the weekly chart is in a major conflict with the daily chart. So we'll see how that goes. On the daily chart, I'm looking at a bit of a bounce because that was a bad week. And the daily chart is telling you to go down. The weekly chart is saying it'll bounce off the 50. So this is one of those situations where you really don't want to trade oil right now. At least I wouldn't trade oil because, this may look like a contradiction, but it's not, right? Like my weekly chart is saying technically oil goes up then down. My daily chart is saying oil will go up very short term, then down. And well, yeah, so okay, sorry. So these kind of look identical, but they're really, really not. Oh, maybe they are. Well, in different ways, right? Like my daily only goes up to like here, 51, and then down, and my weekly is saying we go up to 65. So they're actually contradicting each other, and I will leave it as is. We will see which one is right. I'm going to delete these arrows only because they're like in my way. We'll see which one is right. I have no idea. I would be staying away from oil at this point in time. Back when, meanwhile, over here, I thought oil was the no-brainer trade. Oil seemed like the most obvious trade, and it didn't work out at all. It stayed flat, and there you go. Let's. I hope that's all saved. I mean, I should probably start saving these before I close. All right, so Euro remains a basket case. It's not collapsing like I thought it would. Being held up there, it is kind of oversold, but I think, I think the euro is like the worst currency in the world. So sooner or later, it's going to go down. It's just not going down yet. I always thought that the British pound was way oversold. Keep expecting it to go up. It's not. I guess people aren't as confident that Brexit was a good thing like I am. Oh well. This was, again, what looked like a no-brainer trade with the head and shoulders is not really working out as such. However, let's see if I can just make this yellow here. As long as this, I'll drop the arrow part in a minute. All right. Oh, it's a double-sided arrow now. There you go. All right. So as long as the top of the right shoulder holds, this pattern is intact, at least technically. So if right now might be a decent shot to take this trade again, I'm gonna stick to my rules that I should stick to. And not make any directional trades because that's not my specialty. Though I may take on this trade on like one broker or something for like $100 and attempt this short one more time. Basically, I'm shorting the euro against the pound. I really think the pound is way oversold and the euro is not oversold enough. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll put that trade in tonight. If I get a good fill, like 875 or something, I'll take it. And then this is a very tight stop loss. This is another reason why I like this trade. You know what? Maybe I'll throw it in there, and then I'll try and remember to enter it tonight. Wait, what am I looking for here? No. Oh, here it is. This is what I was looking for. Short position. Right, so I would take a short position here. And I'm going to put the parameters in. So I would consider enter this like 75, and my stop loss would be above the right shoulder, which I don't even know what it is. It's let's say 89-ish. That's too high. 85. Let's do that. Yeah, that looks reasonable. And the profit would be kind of big, right? Because if the trade is working for you, it's working for you. So I'm looking at about 805, something like that. That seems reasonable. So there you go. So for me, this would be like again, I don't know much about currency trading. Currency trading is not my specialty at all. So, but this is a nice risk reward trade I would consider. Very little risk, a lot of reward. And this is one of those trades you can really take on with some serious leverage because of the risk reward ratio, assuming the technical pattern works out. Yeah, so I might throw that in today. And if you're wrong, you know that you're wrong very, very quickly. The problem becomes is when do you know you're wrong? Because that's a weekly candle, right? So in a way, you want to see a weekly close above this red candle. But what if like it breaks this candle on like a Tuesday and it starts to go up a lot? What do? Do you wait for a weekly close and potentially risk a lot of money? Well, I don't know. That depends on your personal risk tolerance, and that's what makes a good trader, right? The best traders are the ones that understand risk reward and the ones that understand how to preserve their capital. And for some traders, they might take a chance and wait to see if, what if you get this shooting star candle like this that didn't knock you out of the trade, and other people would immediately drop out, and then maybe they'll get back in again if they see that candle forming at the end of the week. So that's really up to your personal trading style. I might throw this trade on at 0.875. I'll give this one more shot. I did take this trade on earlier, like around here, a little early, and I got stopped out. So those that have been watching me for months know that happened to me. So maybe I'll try it again. We'll see. And this would be like a few $100 trade just for the hell of it. I try not to put real money on trades I'm not an expert in, and I'm not an expert currency trader. I just like patterns. All right, so I think that's enough for that. I'm gonna save this. I'll leave this position. If you see this next week, that means I got into the trade. Otherwise, I'll delete this when I do this video next time. All right, let's close all of these and let's get to the Bitcoin. I know everyone wants to hear Bitcoin. This is also the time to throw your questions into the live chat. Please start with the capital word question. Makes it much easier for me to separate questions to me versus general chat between each other. We are just under 100 viewers, guys, so thank you very much for the support. I know it's getting late in Europe. This is usually the time I do these shows. I don't know if I can kind of do it earlier, but maybe I should start doing them earlier to account for people in Europe. But if I have people in Asia, this makes it better for them. Hey, Adam Meister's in the channel. Welcome. I try to catch his shows too. They're pretty good. All right, weekly chart. Nothing to see here really. This is our third week where we're starting the week above 2013 highs, which is a very, very good sign. You can see that last week we had a lot of volatility because of the ETF, which, I mean, I think all of you know my thoughts on the ETF, but maybe I'll get into that a little bit in the Q&A. So there's really not much to see on the weekly chart. Here's the daily chart. Now, this is good. Now, I tweeted this out as quickly as I could. I don't really want to pull it up, but when I tweeted this out, the price of Bitcoin was like around 970, 980. So it was literally right there at the bottom and falling. Now, I had no idea how low it was going to fall. So I had wrote in the tweet that this yellow line, this 915 Fibonacci line, would have been the perfect buy point. It never made it down to 915. It only made it down to 950. But a few people tweeted back at me that they were able to buy Bitcoin in like the 985 zone, which was also a great buy. Also, I don't really want to zoom in, but you should be able to see. Maybe I can, let me see here. Yeah, I'll do a cross again. So you can see literally right there where the low came. I haven't touched this channel, guys. I mean, this channel has been on my charts for a year, at least a year and a half now. Like, I'm not messing with this channel. Every time I extend this channel, I try to do it with like as perfectly as possible as to preserve the history of this channel. And people made fun of me like, oh, it's so arbitrary. But is it really arbitrary when the price after the ETF announcement literally came within like margin of error of this pink line right there? Looks to me like the difference is like literally like $10 on the price of Bitcoin right here. And I don't even know what exchange this is, Bitfinex. And by the way, Bitfinex volume is coming back. They seem to be recovering nicely after that hack. Hey, good for Bitfinex. I know I've given them a hard time over the years, but I mean, they're one of the more honest exchanges. I mean, they have to stop those hacks from happening continuously, but they're trying to do a good job. So I should be a little less critical of them in the future. We'll see. And we immediately bounced off of it. I also talked about this. I'll talk about it on the hourly chart. And we're going back up. And this channel is fairly steep. I drew another green arrow here. My arrows have been coming up a little short. So we're due, right? We've hit the bottom of this channel long enough. It's time to break above the channel a little bit. It's time to do one of these, like we did back in November of 2015, and then again in December of 2015, and then here in the summertime in June of 2016. We came up short. We came up short again. I mean, we're due. We're due for a run up to 2000, and I'm sticking to my call on January 3rd in Bitcoinist that quoted me when I said Bitcoin 2000 by mid-August. I have no reason to, step away from that call. All right, let's take a look at the hourly chart. And so the hourly chart has finally knocked us out of my channel, the hourly channel. I thought once we came back into that channel, I thought it was all good. Then the ETF announces and like everything kind of goes to crap. But we're coming back up, and if we have a bit of a run to 1300 this week, hey, we'll be right back into this channel. But I'm even afraid to extend it right now because it's possible that this channel has collapsed. I also can't draw anything to the downside yet. The only thing I can draw, and this is a little bit of a stretch. Like if I take this top, right, and I draw one of these. But now you got a bit of a situation because on the bottom side, you're forced to draw one of these, right? And this isn't symmetric by any means whatsoever. And I don't like these, this wide mouth pattern. I'm not a huge fan of it. And this would imply that we're about to bounce off of it and down. So what can cause that? So we should think about this logically, right? So assuming I leave these lines on here for next week, which I might do, you can play around with this. I don't even know the best way to draw it. I'll just leave it this way, right? So what do we got? Well, there's two paths here. So now I'm gonna, maybe this is going on a little too long now, but I think it's useful. Let's draw a green. So something can get us here, and I'll make an arrow out of it. So what can cause this green arrow? Well, SegWit. People thinking that, SegWit goes in, or even the core devs doing something drastic like telling Antpool to go screw themselves, and we're gonna, hard force SegWit with a user activated soft fork. That would be a catalyst, right? Because there's real people want SegWit, and speculators will react even if SegWit is forced into the system. The fact that SegWit is backwards compatible and is a soft fork will be seen as positive on the price of Bitcoin, even if it's forced, even if it's done by force, and relationships are ruined, and even people. I would have to be a little critical of Core if they force SegWit into the ecosystem. Even though I'm a huge supporter of SegWit, I would kind of have to respect the decision of Core to force SegWit into the system because they know that is the future of Bitcoin to make everybody better. And I'm expecting a positive price reaction. I mean, this is why I do these, right? I'm a speculator. I may not be a trader of Bitcoin, but like I speculate on all possibilities. So if the Core devs try to force SegWit in there by any means necessary, I believe the speculative market reaction would be for a huge rise in Bitcoin in price. Even if Core is seen as the bad guys going forward, right? I mean, in a way, it's kind of breaking the community promise that like they're forcing it in there. But anyway, if they do it, I expect a positive reaction. Now, on the flip side, I mean, it looks like any minute now, this could happen. I mean, it's possible, very possible, right? Because of the two. I mean, if I drew these yellow lines, I have to be ready for both possibilities. So my green possibility is the announcement that SegWit would be forced in. And my red possibility is this is what I expect to happen if F2 Pool decides to signal for Bitcoin Unlimited. I would expect something like this. Because nobody wants 2 Bitcoins other than a few people that have a lot of Bitcoin, right? Because they think that they will have twice as many Bitcoin, just like they had twice as many Ethereum, right? Now, whether the price of the main Bitcoin would be smaller or bigger, I don't know, right? But that's few and far between. So like the 100,000 plus Bitcoin that's signaled for Bitcoin Unlimited, I mean, it's in, they wouldn't mind having 2 Bitcoins and then, both of them are making money. For people that are actively trading Bitcoin, this is not what they want. Like if you're an active Bitcoin trader and an exclusively Bitcoin trader, like not altcoins, you just Bitcoin to dollars, right? Back and forth. I mean, if anyone thinks they're like a professional Bitcoin trader, like a Bitcoin hedge fund or whatever, they're not messing with the altcoins. They're Bitcoin dollars, back and forth. The last thing they want is to have 2 Bitcoins either, right? I mean, that's not their business, right? Just like when I say I might take on that euro currency trade, but that's not my specialty. That's not what I trade. I'm an options spread trader. That's what I know. That's my specialty. When I go outside of my specialty, I don't do very well in trading. Also, probably why I don't trade Bitcoin or altcoins. I stick to what I know. And I've learned over the years that the only way I can make money and pay my bills if I exclusively stick to what I know, because I consider myself a specialist in that zone. So if F2 Pool signals for SegWit, creating miners if F2 Pool signals for Bitcoin Unlimited, creating an environment where miners are predominantly Bitcoin Unlimited, but nodes are predominantly SegWit, that's a problem. That's a huge problem. That's a divergence within the Bitcoin space. And now it becomes a battle of who's more important, the users, aka full nodes, or the miners. And miners have lots and lots of incentives to push for Bitcoin Unlimited, especially Chinese miners. So first of all, I bet they're enjoying the high fees right now real well. And by the way, I remember when Bitcoin Unlimited and Classic and XT, I remember when those things got started. And their main selling pitch was, well, we don't want Lightning Network. If the miners don't get any fees, they're not going to support the network. Why are you taking away fees from the miners? But now we're in a situation where especially the Chinese miners are seriously incentivized to have high fees. It's not in their best interest to vote for SegWit to lower their fees. They like the high fees. So while Roger and the Bitcoin Unlimited crew is screaming the fees are too high, they may not realize that the miners that are supporting Bitcoin Unlimited want that. They want that. So they're either signaling for Bitcoin Unlimited to prevent SegWit from getting in and keeping status quo, creating higher and higher fees so they make more and more money, or they don't care. They'll push for Bitcoin Unlimited, and they don't actually think it's going to pass. I don't understand why miners will want to split the network, but it's in miners' best interest not to want SegWit and not to want Bitcoin Unlimited. Neither of them really favors them, in my opinion. Though Bitcoin Unlimited favors the Chinese miners more because the block propagation time is still a major problem. And it gives miners an advantage that mine, block X minus 1. It gives them an advantage to mine block X because now a bigger block needs to move through the system around the world. So I mean, it's a weird situation. So anyway, so my down arrow basically is additional Bitcoin Unlimited support will drive down the Bitcoin price, and any kind of SegWit positive news will drive it up. But if we have status quo, that would also drive up the price of Bitcoin because there is still Bitcoin demand. I have people reaching out to me, hey, Tone, how do I buy, Bitcoin in the OTC market? Like, can you help me? And I'm like, no, I can't help you. If your transaction is above $3,000, I am completely hands off. I want nothing to do with it. I am an American citizen. And according to the Patriot Act, any transaction over $3,000 in value can be scrutinized by the U.S. government. So, if you want to talk to me about $100, $200 involving Bitcoin, that's fine. I may be involved in that transaction, but any transaction even approaching $3,000 in U.S. value equivalent, I will just send you to one or two OTC KYC professional brokers that I know. I mean, I'm not involved in that. I don't want the problems that Charlie Shrem suffered back in 2012 and 2013. I'm not a rebel like that. No offense, guys. I mean, I'll talk a lot of shit, but I'm not actually going to do it. So that's kind of my view on things. If we have status quo, I also expect the price to go up. And the reason is because Bitcoin is becoming more expensive and the fees are going up. So the value needs to go up because no one is going to send you $5 in Bitcoin. It's only going to be worth it if you're sending, $8,000 worth of Bitcoin, and then your fee doesn't matter. Then you'll pay that $3 fee. Who cares? But under that situation, the price of Bitcoin will also go up because it creates an environment where Bitcoin is for serious transactions, and serious transactions require a serious value for a Bitcoin. So those are all my reasons for Bitcoin to go up. I'll save this. We'll get back to this chart middle of the week, and we'll see how it does. All right, and finally, here's my Brave New Coin Liquid Index, which is going to update in about an hour and a half. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I gotta go back. I gotta talk about something. I forgot something. I know this is already going on a little longer, and I should be on Q&A by now, but all right. So let me change colors here. I'll talk about one thing because it's important, and I talked about it on the Bitcoin group right here. Oh no, not what I wanted to draw. Well, maybe. My mouse has been giving me problems. This spike right here. This spike actually tells me that there are some professional traders in the Bitcoin space, because they to me, this is a classic spike to take out the shorts. The short trade, which I have been talking about for like a month leading into the ETF. Those that watch me regularly know I've been saying that all the money of the Bitcoin ETF is going to be made on the speculation before the announcement. The announcement is a sell event. Whether the announcement is good, whether the announcement is bad, it doesn't matter. It's just like the halving. All the bullish money is made leading into the halving. The halving itself is a sell the news event. So the obvious trade for the 3 or 4 days leading into the ETF was a short. And there must have been a hell of short. I mean, I don't look at the order book. I don't really look at the exchanges. The obvious trade was a short. But then, like 5 hours before, by the way, I don't even know what time or what day the ETF was going to be announced because it wasn't very, very clear. And I know people that had large positions that thought it was going to be announced on Monday. In fact, people told me that it was going to be announced on Monday. Shows how much they knew. People also told me that, oh, I know this, high-ranking official with the government, and they're saying the ETF is going to be approved. Shows how much they know. Guys, nobody knows shit. Okay, that there's almost nobody in Bitcoin. There's like maybe 3 or 4 people in Bitcoin that actually know something, and they're not gonna tell you, right? I mean, like maybe Brock Pierce knows something. He's kind of high up, Maybe the Winklevoss brothers know something because they're kind of high up, right? And they don't talk. Like the people that actually know shit are the people that keep their mouth shut. The reason why I can talk anything about Bitcoin because I don't know anything. Like whatever insider information comes to me, it comes to me from people that I believe know nothing, right? So that's why I can talk about it because I don't think anyone knows anything. I just look at the price, and I'm looking at the hindsight of this, and I saw what happened a few like 6-7 hours before the ETF announcement, and I'm like, and the first thing I said is, holy shit, they just took out all the shorts. Like any reasonable trader would be short, and they would have a stop loss right above this right here. And this is how a lot of these traders got caught. Their stop losses got hit. Their short positions got taken out. And then they're, really, really pissed that they didn't profit on this fall. That happens very, very often. And the good traders see it coming, and they short after the knockout blow to take out the stops. This is very, very difficult to pull off. I don't even have the skills to properly trade this environment. This is why I had no interest in trading the ETF environment. This is also why I don't really trade Bitcoin. I stick to the trading that I know, as I mentioned, option spread trades. I consider myself an expert in that area, and no one can do this to me in the options market the way I trade. So this is the kind of stuff I don't worry about. But if you're going to consider yourself a trader, a real trader of Bitcoin, and this got you, you just got a lesson in what happens when you go up against people that actually know what they're doing. Some will call this manipulation, and some will call it, whale trading, because they have the money to do this to you. And if you don't have the money to withstand it, and you're not ready for it, and you didn't know it was coming, you have a lot of lessons to learn before you consider yourself a real trader. So anyway, just my little thing here. And this would have been a great buy. I mean, I called it on my tweet. Did I buy it? No, because the only Bitcoin I ever buy is in a cash market. And unless my neighbor happened to call me right here at this price of under 1,000 and said, Tone, can you please buy Bitcoin in cash from me right now? I certainly would have. I did not get that call. So I obviously did not buy a single Bitcoin at any point during this time. Just my personal view on things. Okay, Brady Coin Liquid Index, not much here. I expected this red line to be a thorn in Bitcoin going into the early summer, or at least going into April, I should say, throughout the spring. So we'll see how much of a thorn in Bitcoin is this red line. Okay, so on that note, oh wow, this video is already 45 minutes in. I did not mean for it to be this long. So as I scroll through questions and comments, guys, I do have to say that I know I have a big following now. I have 123 live viewers, and I came home from Mexico trip. I'm so far behind that I don't know how much more how much more for Bitcoin I can do. And I'm really falling behind on what I'm supposed to be doing after quitting my job on Wall Street, which is, trading and making money by trading, because I'm not an early Bitcoin adopter, and I don't really make any money in the Bitcoin space. None. I have like an occasional consulting gig here and there. And after the event in Mexico, a lot of people saw me, like a lot of people want to talk to me, and I'm in talks of doing some consulting gigs. Because like I said, money has to be made somehow, right? I have to pay my mortgage. I have to, pay for my travels to all these events. So something has to give. And I'm realizing, like, I put down the list of my to-do list between now and like the end of the month, and I'm not sure I can get it done. And this is the stuff I'm behind on, right? I don't even think I can get it done till the end of next month. Not to mention if I get a consulting gig kind of in between. So I have no idea when I'm going to release the next episode of Crypto Scam. I really want to cover Ethereum. I want to cover Bitcoin Unlimited. I want to cover cloud mining. I mean, it's so much in my head, but putting it down on paper, organizing it, scheduling a guest, trying to get like some of my fact checking right, that's kind of what got me. Like, I can do an episode of Crypto Scam Ethereum and just talk, but then I'm going to have to deal with comments for the next month of all the things I got wrong. So in order to do a little bit of fact checking, and I actually started talking to some of the Ethereum founders. I might have been harder on the Ethereum co-founders than I think I was harder on them than I should have been. So I want to correct those mistakes, but it's just a matter of time. My trading is actually suffering, and that's unfortunate because I do need to be a better trader, to make sure I am making the kind of money I expected to make after quitting my job and becoming a trader as a profession. And that really suffers, right? When I'm on an airplane, when I'm at the airports, when I'm at these events, when I'm doing all this stuff. So my content creation, my voluntary content creation is starting to get in the way of what should have been my job all throughout this last year and a half, which is focusing on actual trading and, making sure that maybe I'll be rich for a change. And one does come at the expense of the other. So I can't promise how much more content I'll be able to like consistently put out. And over the next few weeks, I'm going to try and like rethink my balance because it's just like overwhelming. Like, I'm like literally hundreds of emails behind that are related to non-Bitcoin stuff, but related to finance and related to my own personal trading. Same thing, like I need to analyze all the trades I've done over the last 6 months so that I can optimize my own trading in the option space. And without it, like, I'm almost trading blind. Like, I can't advance my trading and learn from my own mistakes if I don't know what those mistakes are. So, and this kind of stuff takes up a lot of time and a lot of analysis. And when I started being a content creator in the Bitcoin space, I didn't actually think I would ever become like somewhat popular or whatever. Anyway, so that's just like my little view as to why I don't know how much time I'll have for Crypto Scam, even though I really, really want to do it. It's just that like real life gets in the way. And if only I was a Bitcoin adopter and had a few $1 million in Bitcoin, I wouldn't have to worry about trading. Like, I only trade option. I only trade option. I only do option spread trading, to make money to pay my bills. So if Bitcoin is getting in the way of that and I'm not making any money from Bitcoin, then that doesn't really work, right? So something has to come at the expense of the other. All right. Let me go something. Okay, so the debt ceiling. So the U.S. debt ceiling. Now I'm going through questions, guys. So if you have a question, throw a question with a capital, the word question. I also need to try and keep these videos shorter, but that hasn't seemed to be working. So the U.S. debt ceiling is going to be raised. They will holler and they will scream. But correct me if I'm wrong. I have not had time to keep up with the Trump administration. Like, I'm supposed to be keeping up with traditional finance and economics on a daily basis. And it's been 2 months since I looked at anything related to finance and economics. I was trading. I usually trade around earnings season. That's when I trade. And I was so focused on my own trades, I didn't even have time to keep up with the general market. It helped that the general market was very, very steady and just constantly going up, so I didn't really need to as much. The debt ceiling is going to be raised. The debt ceiling is always raised because it's in no one's interest to crash the market. It's in the Democrats' interest to crash the market on Trump's watch, but it's dumb because Trump is going to be there for 3 more years after this year. So crashing it on Trump's watch now is just stupid. So if anything, you want to crash it in Trump's last year to get him out of office. These politicians crashing the markets now will only hurt their own retirement funds and their own portfolios, and their own constituents are going to be on their ass. Also, I mean, I believe the House and the Senate are also like Republican by majority. Don't hold me to that. Again, like, these are the kinds of things I'm supposed to know, but I had no time I've just been so busy with Bitcoin stuff since the election. And honestly, a lot of it is the scaling debate. Like, there shouldn't be a scaling debate, for God's sakes. I mean, SegWit should be in by now. Like, Bitcoin Unlimited should have never been a problem. Like, again, that's what's taking up a lot of my time. And like debating Roger Ver, and I haven't even had a chance to listen to those debates. Like the debate that Johnny had with Roger, I have almost no idea what Johnny said during that debate with Roger. And I was sitting right next to Johnny. That's because I was too busy streaming the damn thing for the Bitcoin community, paying attention to the online questions. And I have no idea what Johnny and Roger debated, because I haven't had time to go back and watch the video that I recorded and posted on my own channel. I mean, that's an idea of how busy I am. Like, I haven't had time to watch a debate that I posted on the internet. And I need to. I also need to go through those comments, and I really want to fact check myself because I got a bunch of stuff wrong. I want to fact check Roger because I know Roger got a bunch of stuff wrong. The difference is the stuff that I got wrong kind of hurts SegWit, and the stuff that Roger got wrong also hurts SegWit because they made Bitcoin Unlimited look better. So if you correct all of the mistakes that I made and all the mistakes that Roger made, combined, those mistakes are so pro SegWit and so anti Bitcoin Unlimited. And I want to go through those and maybe make another video of, you know, the fact checking of my debate with Roger and Johnny's debate with Roger. And I just had no time to do that. And that's really unfortunate. But again, me putting time into that takes time away from my trading, which is, again, a problem. So it's this is why I'm kind of in the middle of. Anyway, so the debt ceiling is going to be raised. It's in no politician's interest to keep doing it. Look, the debt ceiling has always been raised for like dozens of years. It's never been a problem. It's only a problem when when people want to act tough. It doesn't matter. It's complete. The U.S. debt is completely irrelevant. It's the unfunded liabilities that matter, and the U.S. government. Oh, speaking of which, hold on. Let me show you this. This is what I wanted to show. So here's the U.S. dollar, right? And this is why it's irrelevant. Nixon tried to crash the dollar. Didn't work. Reagan tried to crash the dollar. It didn't work. The euro came around. The United States government wanted to crash the dollar to prop up the euro. And guess what? It didn't work. Like, nobody can crash the dollar. I mean, look at this. Nobody can crash the dollar. They're trying. They're trying. There is no amount of money printing that can crash the dollar. And I think it's going to go higher. I think we're going to go to all-time highs. What's the all-time high? What is this? 130? 130. There you go. I think we're going higher. I mean, Trump is going to try and do something really, really drastic to try and crash the dollar. And he'll probably fail. And it's going to go up. Like, this is the crazy part. Like, all the people screaming for hyperinflation and the U.S. economy is going to collapse. They're trying. They've been trying. The U.S. government has tried to crash the dollar since Nixon in 1971, and they've all failed. So don't be, they failed. They wanted to succeed. They're all failing. So the debt ceiling is going to be raised. They can print all the money they want. The entire world is going to absorb it. All right, let's get to some other questions here. Oh yeah, there's a I think it's great that the ETF failed also. I've been talking about it for a while. There were two separate issues. The ETF, I always thought that the ETF was terrible for the Bitcoin community, and it would have been stupid for the SEC to accept the ETF, even if they thought it was a good idea, because it's just dumb. And I have so many videos talking about it. There's really no reason to talk about it in hindsight. The only people that really wanted the ETF were the people that wanted to make money short term. I'm not here to make money short term from Bitcoin. I'm here to see the Bitcoin ecosystem. I'm here for Bitcoin to change the world. I'm not here to make people rich. I'm not here to be rich or I wouldn't be saying that, my all the evangelism I'm trying to do in Bitcoin is interfering with my ability to actually make money in the market, right? Because my other option is to leave both of them behind and go get a job, which is something I'm trying to avoid. And that job would probably be outside of the Bitcoin space because I can make more money there. I don't think there is a single Bitcoin company that will pay me over $150,000 a year, and that would be my starting salary if I go back to Wall Street. At least that would be my asking price. I have no idea if I'm worth that much. I'm probably not. So we'll see. And I'm not here to get rich. If I was really around to get rich, I probably would just completely cut off me being a content creator and just focus on trading. And if I can hack it as a trader, full time, no distractions, no conferences, no Bitcoin in my life other than holding it as a retirement play. If I hack it as a trader and I make a lot of money, I'll be rich. None of you will know I exist, but I'll be rich. And if I fail as a full-time trader, I'll just go back and get a job. And again, I will not have time to do like this kind of Bitcoin evangelism. And it's kind of unfortunate that, well, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm in a different position than someone like Roger Ver, who's an early Bitcoiner. So he's early Bitcoin rich and I'm not. That does, that may make me less credible. But hey, I'm honest about it. So you guys decide what you will with that information. All right, next question. Any thoughts on holding the market weight of the top 10 cryptocurrencies that can be held in cold storage? I mean, I don't do that. I mean, you can. It would have done you real well. It's a good question, and I want to acknowledge that question, right? So let's coin market cap, right? Number, right? You're only asking this question because look how well, maybe I can zoom in on this here, make it bigger. All right, look, here's why you're asking this question, and it's a good question. Ethereum up 45% in 7 days. Dash up 60% in 7 days. Monero up 18% in 7 days. Ethereum Classic up 15% in 7 days. Augur, holy shit! Why is Augur $8? Up 20. So here's your top 10, right? So the only one in the top 10 that's down is NEM, and it's a shame that NEM is even up there. By the way, Steemit, I saw Steemit like below Decred, which I've never heard of before. Like Adam Meister talked about it with Charlie Lee, and it's probably the only reason why Decred is up this much. Oh, thanks, guys. You do have influence. Look, we all have influence. Adam, you're in this channel. I don't know if you're still watching this live. You and Charlie Lee have influence. When you talk about Decred, you pump Decred. If you buy Decred before you talk about it, you will make a lot of money, right? This was my criticism of Barry Silbert when he bought a bunch of Ethereum and then he pumped it by talking about it. We all have a lot of influence. I apparently have influence. When I did those, I regret not taking down the We Love Dash logo in the debates between me and Roger and Johnny and Roger. But it wasn't my place to take down that sign. That's they're a sponsor of the crypto show. The crypto show was there with very good equipment to record this. I didn't have this ability. I'm also a one-man operation. They have more people involved, right? They're sponsored by Dash, so they have money. I can talk about the bullshit of why Dash has money to pay media sponsors, and I disagree with that, right? I would never take Dash money, right? Dash came to me offering me $1 million to sponsor my show. Not that they wouldn't, because I'm critical of Dash. But if they do, I would turn them down because, again, I will take my principles over being rich. You can call me an idiot. That's fine. That's kind of what I decided. And so I wouldn't have done it. Like it wasn't my place to take down that logo. That logo was there. I'm the one that informed the world that Roger Ver had diversified into Dash, right? These are all the things that helped pump Dash. I did not profit from that because I didn't buy Dash myself, nor did I want to. So so the reason you're asking these questions is because all of these currencies that have done really, really well. So yeah, you would have done great. But once segregated witness gets approved and the banks realize how stupid Ethereum is, the way they should be realizing how stupid R3 is and has nothing to do with blockchains, hence Goldman Sachs has left, and the Dash masternode network completely implodes because, well, no one's really using it. And I'm waiting. Like, basically, here's my view on Dash. Around $100 or $1 billion market cap, they'll come in the same vicinity. So when Dash breaks 100 and Dash market cap breaks $1 billion or is in the vicinity of $1 billion, Dash is going to implode. I am not technical enough to explain to you why it's going to happen. I am also not technical enough to know why the Dow imploded. But 3 weeks before the Dow imploded, like 1 week after everyone found out about the Dow, I publicly said that the Dow is going to implode and it's going to be hacked and all of the Ethereum is going to be lost. I did not need to look at the code in order to make that prediction and for that prediction to come true. So without looking at the Dash code at all, nor would I want to, nor would if I spend a month and a half looking at Dash code, I'll probably understand it because I do have a engineering background. I just don't want to look at their code. I don't need to look at their code. I can tell you with almost certainty that if Dash doubles one more time to somewhere between $125 and $150, along with the $1 billion market cap, the Dash technologically is going to implode just like the Dow. It is virtually a certainty. And this has been proven time and time again with every single altcoin. There is a certain price of the honeypot where the effort by a competent developer to completely destroy your project when there is enough money on the line becomes the juice becomes worth the squeeze. Now, whether they actually profit from imploding your network or the sheer joy they get from imploding $1 billion network is beyond most people's understanding. And the competency of Dash can't possibly be any good. And the reason why I say that is because if you ask any of the 100+ Bitcoin Core developers about the technical competency of the Dash developers, they will just laugh and not answer your question, okay? And you all know, after listening to my debate with Roger, how much faith I have in the technical competency of the Bitcoin Core developers. Therefore, I have even less competency in the Dash developers than I do in, let's say, Bitcoin Unlimited developers. And I have way more competency in the Ethereum developers than Bitcoin Unlimited developers, right? This is why Ethereum has been able to recover from the Dow implosion, because as much as we make fun of their technical expertise, they're not that bad, relatively speaking. So the Monero technical expertise is probably pretty good, though I don't want to say that out loud, even though I just did. But I would go with Bitcoin Core is just you see how Bitcoin is 80% of the market cap of all the other coins combined. If there was a metric for technical and programming competency of Bitcoin Core versus the rest, this would be closer to 99.9%. Okay? There's one or two other decent developers somewhere in this list. But if they were really decent, they would be at Bitcoin Core. okay? Therefore, any of these things, when the honeypot gets big enough, the whole thing is going to implode. And Ethereum will probably reach that as well, okay, for the second time. So that's kind of my view on things. Monero, I know Adam's in this channel again, and Adam always talks about Dash marketing over Monero marketing. Monero isn't in the business of marketing. They're not marketing their coin. They're trying to work on science, and if people like their science, great. If they don't, they don't. I don't believe in marketing an altcoin. To me, that's scammy, okay? And Zcash will perpetually go down. There is absolutely the way Zcash was structured and launched, like Steemit, it guarantees the perpetual decline of the price. Now, that has nothing to do with the market cap, right? So like the market cap of Zcash can continue to go up, but the price of Zcash will continue to go down. That's just the way it was designed. Steemit is the same way. There might be, they might change their consensus rules again because they don't really have any consensus. And hey, look, Steem is back to almost 9 cents. It was down to like 7 cents, maybe even 6 earlier, right? It doesn't matter. It's designed on a long-term basis to perpetually go down in price, even if the market cap goes up. It's just the way these things were designed. Now, in the case of Zcash, I call this design incompetence. In the case of Steem, I call this design malicious. So you can rate which one I consider a bigger scam, Zcash versus Steem, but that doesn't change the fact that economics of the coins dictate that the price goes down, whether the market cap goes down or up, or the market cap fluctuates as price continues to go down long term. And that's going to happen to all of these, but Dash especially, when the honeypot gets big enough, all those master nodes are going to freaking implode. And you can hold me to this in a few years. There's also I made this bet on the internet probably about 9 months ago now, where I said within 3 years, Evan Duffield will be arrested, because if his coin gets big enough and Dash becomes a big enough disruptor to the financial system, which you all expect, Evan immediately gets arrested as a US citizen. And you can argue with me on that, but he will. And once Evan's gone, the confidence in your coin's gone, pretty much, right? I mean, he's pretty much the oracle. And also the rest of the people are very, very public. And this is where Bitcoin has a huge advantage over Dash. Dash claims to have this great governance. That's bad. That's absolutely terrible. If you have governance, then you have a way to infiltrate that governance, and you have a way of taking that governance out with bigger guns, or in this case, just guns. You don't even need bigger guns. You just need guns. That's what the government is very, very good at. So the fact that you claim that your coin has good governance is a terrible thing, and I think that's going to do them in sooner or later. Okay, so I got way on a tangent here, so I hope that was useful. So yeah, so you may think that holding a top 10 portfolio now is a good idea, but every month, and I missed it this month because again, I've been busy. Once segregated witness gets in, whether voluntary or by force, you'll see all of these percentages in reverse, and a lot of the money go back into Bitcoin. And if some of the whales that hate SegWit leave, that would only decentralize Bitcoin even more and make it stronger. So I expect all of these percentages to fully reverse. Everything is up and down. If I click on, this is like the recent surge in altcoins. And I really expected this chart to go up into 95. I was wrong. I'll admit it. Look, the trend has changed. The only reason why this happens is because of the uncertainty in scaling Bitcoin. But once SegWit gets in, things will get back on track. So you can do it. I mean, you can try to keep that, top 10 equal weighted portfolio. I think it's dumb because you have like several scams in here, even in the top 10, and useless projects. And now it's like, well, it's not really a top 10. I'm going to pick and choose which ones. And then you're going to pick the wrong one, and then Ripple will have a pump, and you're going to be like, oh, I should have had Ripple in there, even though I knew it was stupid. So you have no idea, right? Like, anyway, it's hard to say. It's hard to argue with results, right? I mean, if you're making money altcoin trading, then you have way more money than I do. But sooner or later, it's either Bitcoin or nothing, guys. All right, let's see. I know I'm way behind on questions. Probably I'm still at the top. All right, question. I am a Bitcoin miner and moved all my Bitcoin to Dash at $41 last week before the ETF. I have made a killing so far with Dash, now at 76. What is your outlook for Dash? I have totally answered your question, and which is perfect, actually. I've answered your question over the last 15 minutes. Do with that information what you will. I have zero exposure to Dash, and so there you go. By the way, the more people do that, the more people leave Bitcoin into Dash, considering like here's what would make me take Dash seriously. It's not when a whale moves 20,000 Bitcoin into Dash, sells their 20,000 Bitcoin and moves to Dash. That doesn't scare me. Here's what scares me. A headline that says, Gregory Maxwell has taken his talents to Dash. That would scare me as a Bitcoiner, right? Not Roger Ver has moved his fortune of 100,000 Bitcoin all into Dash. I would be happy. But if I see a headline, the joint Gregory Maxwell, Peter Will, and I don't know, name one more. Who's the next high-ranking guy? Vandelier or Peter Todd or Adam Back. They have taken their talents to the Dash network. That would scare the shit out of me, and I would. That would also cause Dash to go to $1,000 almost instantly. So until I see that headline, I can't possibly take Dash seriously. And I'm not starting rumors, right? So that headline will never happen. But that's what you're looking for, right? That's the headline you're looking for if you want to take Dash seriously. Or Fluffy Pony, right? Like if there's a headline, Fluffy Pony has taken his talents from Monero to Dash. That would also probably allow me to take Dash seriously, which is about as likely as Gregory Maxwell going there. All right, what else we got? Tone, please update your chart with the channel and publish an idea on TradingView. All right, I'll try and do that tomorrow. I'll try and get it up tomorrow. I think I'm getting to these questions like 45 minutes late, so I doubt anyone, like, you'll have to listen to them on tape because I just go off on so many tangents. When am I next in Pattaya? Oh man, Thailand. I really want to go to Thailand. I really want to join Krista Rose in Thailand and have fun. And I'm trying to work out my travel schedule. But that's the thing, right? When I'm away from home, I even get less work done. So it's really hard. Honestly, the only reason why I wish I had a bunch of money is so that I can hire assistants to do like the stupid work, like scheduling and updating my blog and all this other stuff. And I know I'm getting some volunteers of people to do that, and I don't want to outsource to volunteers. It's just not something I do. I need to pay for it because I know what I'm paying for. I have volunteers come and go. That's not my specialty, working with volunteers. At the same time, I don't want to manage people. I hated managing people when I was a manager back on Wall Street. That's, again, I'd rather just focus on stuff. So I don't know. Maybe in Thailand, I can hire, a couple of master's finance students, and they can do some of this shit for me. That'd be great. Now, I've been considering moving out to Thailand, cut down my cost of living. That might help. Maybe I won't have to trade then. Maybe then my Bitcoin, maybe the Bitcoin that I managed not to lose in stupid ventures will be able to sustain me for the rest of my life if I live in Thailand. Oh man, Florida Gators football. You don't want to talk about the Gators football. They've been terrible lately. I'm a Seminole, by the way, so I know people get me with the Gators Seminoles thing. All right, next question. All the Bitcoin Unlimited hardcore debate is worrying. Yeah, it's worrying. But apart from following what seems like a stalemate conversation, are there any hard facts that would indicate that a split is very likely instead? No, there's actually very few facts that Bitcoin will have a split. They can split anytime they like. They can split. Their split chain will die fairly quickly. So there will be two Bitcoins, but it will be, I mean, like the chances of a sustained split with two Bitcoins is almost non-existent. The chances of a split in Bitcoin that lasts maybe a month is a lot higher, but the chances of a Bitcoin Unlimited hard fork having any kind of a sustainability is non-existent, because Bitcoin Unlimited is being run on a year-old code. So even if Bitcoin Unlimited forks, they will not be able to add SegWit. They will not be able to fix malleability. They won't be able to fix anything, and they don't have the developers to get it done in any kind of a reasonable way, shape, or form. So Bitcoin Unlimited forking is not going to happen. And if it does, it's going to be like I don't know, 1,000 orphan blocks, and then it like on one chain, and then it'll all die. All right, next question. Somebody new to Bitcoin. Are there trading tools comparable to TOS for Bitcoin? What's TOS? Hold on a second. Is that Thinkorswim? I'm assuming it's Thinkorswim. I was fisted upon Coinbase and Poloniex unavailable during the ETF pre-announcement crash. So you're new to Bitcoin, but it sounds like you are not new to trading, which is what I've been saying for 3 years, or since anyone has heard of me in Bitcoin. There is almost no, I haven't seen Bitfinex lately. Phil Potter comes from a traditional trading environment, but none of the other guys, there's just no tools. I use Interactive Brokers as my trading platform, which, by the way, I have an affiliate code for. So if anyone is going to be doing traditional trading and is looking at Interactive Brokers, please PM me. I'll shoot you an affiliate code. I mean, it doesn't really, just helps me out a little bit. Doesn't really change anything on your end. Right, so Thinkorswim is an amazing platform. I've never used it, but I've heard amazing things. And no, there's nothing there. And that's another reason why I've never thought about trading Bitcoin, because the tools I'm used to aren't there. I've been trading traditional markets since 2005. And in 2005, even I had friends that were trading in 2002, 2003. And what I saw on the 2002, what do you call them? Was it E-Trade? 2002 E-Trade platform was more professional than anything I saw in the Bitcoin space, even lately. So no, I mean, if you're a traditional trader, I mean, it's borderline laughable at the tools that you have at your disposal. So there you go. So no, it's very difficult. It's so hard for a traditional trader to be a Bitcoin trader because of the tools they are used to. It's a big deal. To me, it is anyway. Tone, what do you think of the PE ratio being so high for the S&P 500 earnings, going down for 6 quarters? But the Dow and S&P making new highs, debt ceiling, Fed funds rate increase. Again, see the debt ceiling and the Fed fund. I think the Fed funds increases this week. I just had no time to keep up with traditional finance, which is unfortunate because that's supposed to be my job. I don't really care about S&P earnings. S&P earnings hit an unreasonable all-time high in 2008. Remember, it's speculation. It doesn't matter. PE ratios are irrelevant to me, and here's why. Because the markets can always get more irrational. Well, and this could be like an hour video on its own, so I don't know how short I can make this, but the interest rates are going up. The bond market is 10 times bigger than the stock market, maybe 9 times bigger now, because when the interest rate went up the way it did over the last 6 months, your bond portfolio lost a lot of money. Stocks went up 25% last year. All that money is going to leave the bond market, and most of it is going to go into the stock market. The PE ratio is going to be freaking useless because your choices are, do I lose my money in the bond market, or do I join the speculative bubble in the stock market? And who gives a shit how high PE ratios can get? They can get so far out of control. It will be like the Great Depression, laughable, when the stock market goes up 4x in 3 years. Okay, so the PE rate, I don't even look at the PE ratio chart. They're completely irrelevant to me because no one trades the current PE ratio. Everyone trades the future PE ratio, and here's what people are seeing. Netflix is going to take over all content creation and all streaming. Amazon is going to take over all deliveries. Amazon will probably buy UPS and FedEx, and who else is there? DHL. It doesn't matter. Amazon is going to take over all delivery of anything all over the world, and when they can, they will do it by drone. Google is going to drive all of our cars, and they will help, and Tesla might make all of those cars, right? So this is what people are seeing. They are not looking at the PE ratio of this company or that company, right? And then you have your staples, right? Like who's going to make the toothpaste? Amazon is already making the batteries. So who knows what else Amazon is going to actually manufacture. So that's what you're looking at, right? And Google is probably going to take over the cell phone towers, and Google is also going to be your communication. So you're looking at that, right? So go 20 years out, and you have 6 tech companies running the world. PE ratios go out the window. It's all speculation. Right. Someone says Coinbase always crashes when shit goes down. Well, right, because they're just, their servers just unfortunately aren't designed to handle, mass traffic on a short time scale. And this is something that Wall Street had a lot more money to work on and a lot more time to work on, right? This is why my broker doesn't go down if the Dow crashes 1,000 points, and I'll be able to make my trade. And this is another reason why I have no interest in trading Bitcoin, because I don't think these exchanges are technologically ready, and maybe one day they will. Or what we really need, I don't know if we need it, but this is where we're headed. If Blockstream is able to release the liquid project, that would be, it's a honeypot of Bitcoin I'm not a fan of, but at least it was developed by competent people, which I like. And initially, the current Bitcoin exchanges are tapped into that box, BTC China and Uno Coin and Kraken and Bitfinex. But guess what? Once that box is out in space, maybe a broker like E-Trade, a broker like Scottrade, a broker like Ameritrade, which I think Ameritrade bought Thinkorswim platform, or my broker, Interactive Brokers. Maybe they would have the ability to tap into the liquid box, and then their tools will not go down, and you will be able to have access to the liquidity of Bitcoin in the liquid box developed by Blockstream. Will they succeed? I don't know. But that's what you're looking for, right? You're looking for Thinkorswim to tap into a pool of Bitcoin and provide you with legit margin. If they can get there, great. You'll have a real exchange to trade Bitcoin. We'll see where that goes. Actually, a little curious on that myself. All right, let's see. Let's see what else we got. Hold on a second. I think I got an important text. Give me literally 1 second here. Oh my God. Wow. So yeah, it was an important text. So someone would just went to Trader Joe's to do some shopping because there's apparently a storm coming in to New York, about to get like a foot of snow, and the shelves at Trader Joe's are literally empty, like literally empty. I just got a picture of like an entire shelf at Trader Joe's, like all the groceries. It's like nothing there, not even like a piece of a carrot. It's crazy how people go nuts when a foot of snow is coming in New York. They're prepping. It's bad. It's kind of it's not funny, but it's kind of funny. Anyway, all right, let's move on with the questions. You think Pepe Cash might replace Bitcoin in 2017? Oh man, so I'm gonna talk about. Oh God, I know I have so many questions, guys. I'm sorry I'm so behind. You will have to watch this on video later. So this will be my first time I ever talk about Pepe Cash. So I have avoided talking about rare Pepes or Pepe Cash from the moment it was created. So I knew this was stupid. I knew this was a joke. And I knew it was going to end badly. I did not realize that it would lead to a breakup of the Bitcoin uncensored couple of Joseph and Krista Rose, which I find very, very unfortunate. When they started pimping Pepe, I told them this is dumb and they shouldn't do it. And that was my view. I completely stayed away. I stayed away from it. I did not comment one way or the other. I didn't say, yeah, let's pump it. I know it's dumb. I know it's a scam, because I knew that where this would lead. And I just didn't say anything because I did not want to give it, like, unlike Dash that I talk about maybe a little too much, I don't want to give stupidity any kind of airtime. It's like, I don't like to debate scammers. I don't like to debate nonsense, right? I don't want to give a 5% opinion 50% of the say. I don't like it. So I have said nothing about it, and maybe people will learn from their mistakes of pumping something they know is dumb, because it can lead to some serious consequences. And it's unfortunate that it led to what I still think is a temporary breakup between Chris and Josh, because I think their podcast, Bitcoin Uncensored, did a lot of good for the Bitcoin community. Whether you agree with them, don't agree with them, whether you like them as people or don't like them as people, that's fine. That's your opinion. That's also my opinion. But I think their content was very, very good. And it's very unfortunate that Pepe Cash led to their breakup. And one of the reasons why this is the first time I'm ever talking about it, and I'm only talking about it in this context as to the bad that it did. And at this point, I have no reason to talk about it any further, and I will continue to ignore it. What's the best exchange when things do start going crazy? Do any of them going to be reliable? I have no idea. You should ask this to people that arbitrage Bitcoin for a living, and they have accounts with like 10 exchanges. I knew one person that would arbitrage Bitcoin on like 1 second or like 2 second increments between all of the exchanges. And that a person like that would be someone to ask that question. I have absolutely no idea. How's that Litecoin? Okay, that's not a question for me. That's a question for James Bond. So go ahead and answer that, one of the regular viewers. All right, I know I'm way behind on questions. Let me scroll, see another. I'm looking for lines that I don't have time to read the entire chat. I'm literally looking for lines that start with the capital word question. Question. If Bitcoin forks, wouldn't it be very difficult and expensive to mine non-BU fork so no one will, so fork wouldn't end up with two chains? No, it wouldn't be expensive to mine the non-BU fork. If Bitcoin splits, it should be fairly cheap to mine either fork. or cheaper because there's less competition, right? Now, it'll take longer to find a block, but so maybe the hash rate will start to drop. Okay, guys, there are so many reasons why a hard fork is not going to happen, and here's why. I have never mined in my life. I missed it. I admit it. I missed it. I got into Bitcoin in 2013, in the first half of 2013. Didn't get really even the best price. I was too late for mining. One of the smartest decisions I did is never try to mine because I probably would have lost money. I would love a chance to mine Bitcoin again, but the universe will not give me this opportunity. And if Bitcoin Unlimited takes 90% of the network and leaves non-Bitcoin Unlimited, SegWit only, 1 megabyte block fork with 10% of the hashing power, that would be a dream come true for me, because I will, buy the best computer on the market and start mining and pay the electricity bill and profit. That will never happen because I have no mining specialty. And knowing that I will never be able to profitably mine tells me that the SegWit side of Bitcoin will never give me the opportunity to be rich of mining a 10% minority fork. So it's never going to happen. It's going to happen on Bitcoin Unlimited. And you will mine Bitcoin Unlimited. And you will lose by mining Bitcoin Unlimited. Ethereum, however, is different. And I'm not going to get into it here. But when Ethereum goes proof of stake, it's going to be a complete and utter disaster, because all the current miners mining $30 Ethereum, why in the world would they give up those gains and go to proof of stake Ethereum? That's just silly. And why would those miners suddenly go to Bitcoin Classic and Ethereum Classic and start mining $1.75, a coin worth $1.75, when they're currently mining a $30 coin, increasing rapidly? Ethereum will hard fork again, and the miners are going to stay with Ethereum, mining a $30 coin, trying to maintain the floor of a $30 Ethereum coin, which will then drop in price because Ethereum is kind of useless. Anyway, so I know for a fact that the world will not allow me to profitably mine. Therefore, the 1 megabyte segregated witness chain will always be expensive to mine, and the price will always be expensive. Someone just put a comment. I will give 2 million Bitcoin to Tone. I don't know what context that's in, but no one's going to give me that. No one's going to give me $2 million worth of Bitcoin either. So I have nothing to sell them, guys. I have no pitch. I have no product. I have no company. I'm not in the business of ripping other people off. I have nothing to crowdfund. All I have to crowdfund is my content creation. And I would be very, very careful as to how I even, take money for that. There's only like 6 sponsors I would even allow to sponsor me. And even that's, going out on a limb for me because, God forbid, those companies aren't as trustworthy as I think they are. That's pretty much all the companies I trust in the space. Half a dozen companies. And I think I mentioned them all on the year-end episode of the Bitcoin group, where we talked about, biggest winners, biggest losers, best company, worst company. So you can get an idea of which companies I like from going back to the World Crypto Network and checking out the year-end episode on like our kind of quasi-award show. All right, so more Dash questions. I think I beat that dead horse already. Do I know why I am popular? The only reason why I'm popular is because I think people see me as an honest person in a world full of scams, in a world full of scammy. That's probably the biggest reason why I'm popular. Also, some of my calls have been fairly good. I also don't take any outside money. Those are just some of the reasons why I'm popular. I kind of have some credibility. People like to make, like the newbies, like to make fun of me now, like new people coming into the space. Oh, this guy's a banking shill. He worked for Bear Stearns. He worked for JP Morgan. Like they know nothing about me. All they think is I'm like this banker. And I know they know nothing about me because after the Roger Ver debate with me, half of the Reddit people are like, who the hell is Tone Vays? Oh, he's a banking shill. So those people's opinions are irrelevant, especially when it comes to the block size debate. So those are the only reasons I think I'm popular. That's pretty much it. I kind of tell it like it is, and I don't really care all that much what people think. And also, by the way, because I'm so busy and because I have to see so many comments come through my channels and YouTube comments and Twitter comments, I'm starting to get really short patience. And so when someone leaves like a stupid comment, and I mean a stupid comment, I will reply and tell them that it's a stupid comment. And that might look mean if it's a newbie leaving a comment, but honestly, I'm sorry, I don't have the time. I don't have the time to explain the basics or get into a really long discussion as to why, let's say, Bitcoin Core should put code where when the block reward decreases, the time between blocks should also decrease. Like I really don't have the time to explain the stupidity of that comment. So I will simply say that's just dumb. And that is the Bitcoin uncensored position, to just call people idiots and then see if they want to reflect on why their comment was dumb and try to learn from it. Do they, take the tail between their legs and run away from the space? Or they try to pick a fight that I'm not going to be in the mood for and I will just ignore them, right? So it kind of weeds people out, whether they're thinking before they're talking. So you may see me, I'm generally a nice guy, but sometimes I also run out of patience, which is what happened to me when people complained about the quality of my, the video and audio quality of my content. So I kind of lost patience there. I'm working on it. That requires time and money, both of which are somewhat limited. As my time and money improves, so will the technical quality of my content. That's all I can promise you. All right, let's see. Any other questions? Here's my attempt to keep this video to 30 minutes. We're already an hour and 40 minutes in. Shadow cash has gone up. I have no idea what shadow cash is. If you were a malicious pump and dumper, how would you do it? Asking for a friend. That's a really long conversation. I really don't want to get into it now. If I was a malicious pump and dumper, I mean, there's only two people to learn from in the space. Two successful malicious pumpers. We're talking Evan Duffield of Dash is a very successful malicious pump and dumper. Though I'm not sure he dumped yet. I mean, you will never know. I don't think he dumped, right? He turned it into a master node to earn money going forward. And Daniel Larimer, right? He's another very malicious pump and dumper. He's a full pump and dumper. Like Evan, I'm sure Evan dumped some, but then he found a way to stick around by creating a proof of stake system with his, pre-mine. Daniel Larimer, on the other hand, he's all about proof of stake. I mean, he created proof of stake, for God's sake. And he already left one project. Now he's on Steemit. When the price of Steemit falls below bid shares, he will leave Steemit and he will do another one, right? So there, like look at their histories, look at everything they've done, and you can copy them. I mean, they're the successful, malicious pump and dumpers. Let's see. Trump and Bannon say they want to spend $1 trillion on infrastructure. I don't even know who Bannon is. See, this is what I mean. Like, I'm so far removed from doing what I intended my job to do during this time, which was, being an independent trader, potentially working on a hedge fund. Though I really don't want to trade other people's money. I just want to trade my own money. $1 trillion in infrastructure, sure. I mean, it'll be a better trillion spent than buying toxic assets from the banks. So it's I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that, as long as they pick competent people to build that infrastructure. I mean, I'm somewhat okay with that. I also really wouldn't want them doing it, right? I'd rather have Google build the infrastructure, not Trump, right? I'd rather because if they built the infrastructure, we might have, like, where's the flying car, right? I mean, like, if you let the government build the infrastructure, if you let the government build the infrastructure in the early 1900s, we would probably still have horses. Like, let the private industry do it. Don't even subsidize them. Just get out of their way and lower regulations, lower taxes. Lower regulations on who's allowed to drive you around. Lower the regulations on where you can stay for the night, right? Let the private industry do this shit, right? Just like spend your money on lowering regulations. Don't actually build it. Let the private industry build it. Do you think Grayscale ETC Trust is going to take off? No. I mean, I think that whole thing is nonsense. It's just, Barry will make his money from the Ethereum pump, and the Ethereum ETF is. I mean, I think the Bitcoin ETF is dumb. The Ethereum Classic ETF is like 1,000 times dumber. So there's really nothing there. CIA is looking for a Bitcoin liaison. CIA would pay $100,000 yearly salary. Maybe I should apply. No, I'm not going to apply. That's silly. No, I don't want. I definitely don't want government's money. Like, it's if I'll take private. I mean, I consult with private industry. If government wants to hit me up for consulting, as crazy as it sounds, I'll probably do that for free. I'm not going to charge the government a consulting fee. If they want to know about Bitcoin, they can call me and I'll tell them how it is. And if they don't like it, they don't like it. But I'm not going to take money from them, because then it gets weird. I'll take money from a private company that wants to know about Bitcoin, but I don't think I'll take money from the government to talk about Bitcoin. And I have no actual influence on the Bitcoin code. So I thought it was very, very unfortunate that Gavin Andreessen, as the being in charge of Bitcoin Core code, went and talked to the CIA. I thought that was actually before my time in Bitcoin. When I retroactively found that out, I thought that was, Gavin Andreessen's credentials to do anything with Bitcoin should have been revoked right then and there, upon thoughts of going to talk to the CIA. So with me, I'm just a content creator, right? I mean, I don't even trade Bitcoin. Me talking to them is kind of irrelevant, but someone actually, or a wallet creator or an exchange, or God forbid, a Bitcoin Core developer, them talking to the CIA, I think, is problematic. Someone like me talking to them is completely irrelevant to the Bitcoin ecosystem. So yeah, I would actually love to record that conversation and put the video up, but I'm sure they won't let me. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to charge them for it. I mean, they can call me. I'll tell them. I'll tell them whatever they want to hear about my views on Bitcoin, or they can just watch my videos. It's the same damn thing. I'm not going to tell them anything I don't tell you guys. So who cares? Uh, let's see what else we got. I still have 125 viewers, guys. I mean, if I have that many viewers, it like makes me want to keep going. I'm just scrolling through a chat, see if there's anything else interesting in here. Jester, thanks for your comment. I don't think I'm gonna read it out loud, but thank you. I mean, I don't want to. I don't need to read my own praise on a video that's going to be, seen for the rest of time, because I don't plan to take these down unless YouTube bans me. But thank you. All right, still looking for more questions, guys. I'm still catching up on the chat. Why do I have like, I should have a Bitcoin chart up. Where's my hourly chart for the background? There you go. I should probably put notes, but people will watch and hear what I said about these arrows. This is an interesting question. From Duncan. I don't know if you're still on, Duncan. I'm still scrolling through the chat. So here's your question. You're a trader who doesn't want to make money short term. Makes sense. Are you an investor then? So I am a trader who does make money short term. My options trading is my time horizon on my option trades are between a few days and a few weeks, with a maximum of 1 month out. So the trades that I take on have a maximum of 1 month. The average duration of my trade is 2 weeks. So I am a short-term trader. However, I like to trade things I understand very, very well. I like to trade things that I'm confident in. And I like to trade things I'm in direct control of. I consider myself a very, very savvy options trader. Now, that hasn't scaled yet for me to make a lot of money. And a lot of these strategies I've put together recently, so I haven't had the time to prove this strategy that it's scalable and that it's very, very successful long-term. Now, any trading that I do short-term outside of my expertise of options trading is at the expense of me trading those options, not only from a money standpoint, but also from, the speculative side of things, right? So I like to have put all of my money, all of my available principal of trading into a strategy I think will make me the most money with the least amount of risk. Me trading altcoins can lead to a lot of money, but it can also lead to losing a lot of money. So the risk of me trading altcoins is the highest risk out of anything I've ever traded. The second highest risk of anything I've ever traded would probably be futures. I've traded futures, oil, gold, S&P futures, and I'm just not rich enough and don't have enough margin to do it. Like, I've done it and it's been scary, and I've made big money and I've lost big money. And I mean, if I had $1 million portfolio, I might give futures a chance. But trading like $100,000 portfolio, let's say, and risking 40, 50,000 on a futures trade because they're so leveraged is a mistake I've made too many times, and I have forced myself to stay away from it for now. Maybe it would be easier for me to risk 50,000 on $1 million portfolio, but risking 50,000 on $100,000 portfolio is not where I am right now. Okay. My next my next biggest risk is trading Bitcoin, leveraged or unleveraged, because I find Bitcoin way too valuable and I don't want to take on the risk. I like my Bitcoin in cold storage. Anytime my Bitcoin comes out of cold storage, historically, good things have not happened. So I now try to keep my Bitcoin in cold storage, and I do everything in my power to keep it there. And other than, doing like a maximum of $100 transaction, I have no intention of speculating with my Bitcoin until it's time to sell some of it to live comfortably, and that's probably not going to happen till the next halving. Now, the next risky part for me personally is trading equities, and for two reasons. One, you need a lot of capital to trade equities, right? If I want to buy 1,000 shares of Apple stock, that's over $100,000. That's a lot. So leverage trading it, now you have to borrow money on margin, which again is a bit problematic, and I'm cheap. I don't want to pay margin rates, right? Also, picking direction is kind of risky, especially when most of my day is spent Bitcoining and not like trading, right? So for example, if I did quit being a Bitcoiner, that doesn't mean I quit on Bitcoin. It just means I quit being a content creator in Bitcoin. I still have my Bitcoin in cold storage, and I plan to be rich off of that Bitcoin if things work out. And now 100% of my attention every day is focused on trading. And I'm not traveling for Bitcoin. If I'm traveling, I'm on vacation in Thailand. I go to Thailand. I immediately spend $200 on a monitor, and I set up, my trading operation in Thailand for 3 months, and I'm back to, being comfortable, sitting there. I mean, not during the day, but in Thailand, it would be from like 9 o'clock at night to 2 o'clock in the morning, trading, sleep in, go have fun, and then, come back at 9 p.m. for the opening of the stock market, right? So if I was 100% committed to the stock market, I would maybe consider trading equities, because remember, any equity trade is also directional trade. I have to pick a direction. I have to choose, is the stock going up or down? Even if I trade the index, even if I trade the S&P 500, I have to make a call on a direction up or down. Because I am not devoted 100% to trading, which I should, but I'm not, that creates a problem for me in any kind of directional trading, which once again, in my experience over the last two years, have taught me that's way too much risk for me. So over the last 9 months, I have put all my efforts into coming up with trading strategies that have nothing to do with the direction of the stock and have nothing to do with wild speculation like altcoins and Bitcoin. And that led me to trading options. Options also allow me the leverage that I need not to have a multi-$100,000 account to try and trade 1,000 shares of Apple. So now I can still trade 1,000 shares of Apple by simply buying 10 options on Apple, which would only cost me, I don't know, $10,000-$20,000. Okay? And now I'm controlling 1,000 options on Apple with $10,000 instead of $100,000. Options also allowed me to come up with direction neutral strategies, which I'm slowly falling in love with because they completely minimize my risk to be very, very small. They also minimize my gains, and all the advantage that I make is on illiquid options, which make these strategies not very scalable in a way that I don't think I will ever turn 1 million into 2 million, but I might be able to turn 100,000 into 200,000, which would be great for me right now. Not so great, I don't know, maybe in 10 years, but by then I'm hoping Bitcoin makes up the slack, and that solves my paying the mortgage problem. So this is a big distinction, because am I or am I not a short-term trader? Well, I am a short-term trader, but not in a speculative way. And this goes to a person's knowledge and competency as a trader, because I know a lot of you are traders in the Bitcoin space, but if I put you in front of the stock market like if I open up my broker, my trading platform in the traditional markets, you sit in front of my computer, you might be a deer in the headlights. You'll have no idea what button to even press because you have no clue what's going on. But if you put me in front of, let's say, a professional trader on Wall Street, and he opens their platform, even if it's not my broker, even if it's not Interactive Brokers, even if it's Thinkorswim, or even if it's Options Express or E-Trade, and whatever their setup is, whether they're trading futures, options, equities, currencies, even though I'm not a currency trader, you put me in front of their platform, within 30 minutes, I'll know what I'm doing. Okay, so that's the difference. And no Bitcoin trader would have that ability to move from within those environments. So now you can decide whether I am or am I not a short-term trader, long-term trader, or an investor. How can marketing be scammy? Well, I don't know. Have you seen OneCoin? I try to answer your own question, right? I mean, like go one level deeper, right? How can marketing be scammy? Well, again, OneCoin, right? Is OneCoin's marketing scammy or not? And I'll let you answer that yourself. Why did Roger Ver buy Dash when he owns Zcash? He could pump it right now. Well, I don't know. You have to ask Roger why he bought Dash, right? I don't know. It looked like he diversified into anonymous coins. Now, the question is, why didn't Roger buy Litecoin? That is a very good question that maybe someone can ask him. Let's see. Hey, thanks for the compliments, guys. Much appreciated. All right, I'm getting close to the bottom of the chat here. All right, next question. If Roger gets his head screwed up right, will Bitcoin Unlimited and RBTC go away, or has he created a monster that will never go away? I believe he has created a monster that will never go away. And we'll see. I mean, Mike Hearn kind of went away, and Gavin kind of goes away, but then comes back with a vengeance. So, but Roger is different. I mean, Mike Hearn went away because he needed a job. He needed money. Same thing with Gavin, right? I don't know how financially independent Gavin Andreessen is. So a lot of people go away because they need money. It's just a way of life, right? And if you guys see me go away, well, I already promised to go away if Bitcoin Unlimited becomes a dominant chain. And I will just focus on traditional trading. I'll still make these videos. There will be 4 traditional traders about traditional trading. I will stop Bitcoining. But again, Gavin Andreessen may go away if he needs money and he needs a real job. And that is one of the ways I may also go away, because I may want money and get a real job, right? I mean, like, I can't be, I mean, I'm not young, right? I can't be a broke bum forever doing content, right? I'm not literally broke, but relative to many of my peers, I'm broke. So one of the things that will make me go away is, look, my bank account certainly misses my old income, right? And my family still thinks I'm crazy for doing what I've been doing. So that can make me go away, right? Because if a good job opens up, right, like if Goldman Sachs calls and offers a $250,000 yearly salary to be, a manager on one of their trading desks, I have to be crazy not to at least consider it, even if it comes at the expense of not being a content creator in Bitcoin. Gemini Exchange did not go down during ETF crap. Is anyone like using Gemini Exchange? I have no idea. They're in New York, so the KYC is out of control, I'm sure. Oh yeah, when I was talking about Amazon, don't forget Alibaba. Correct. Alibaba is the Amazon of the East. All right, next question. Since China stopped Bitcoin withdrawals, I've seen a lot of volume move to, I'm assuming you mean Bitfinex. Tone, do you think some of the volume on Bitfinex is fake? No, I don't. I honestly think that Bitfinex tries to run a legit company. I may regret saying that, but as of right now, I see no reason to suspect Bitfinex of any foul play. I do believe their volume is legit, and I think they're trying to run a good company. I think they will get out of their debts and they will make up the difference in the money that was hacked. So I don't believe there's any foul play going on Bitfinex. Their developers could use a little more competency, obviously, but as far as I have no speculation that Bitfinex is running anything foul. All right, I think I'm getting near the end here. Hold on, let me see here. Still over 100 viewers, so I guess people are interested. Once I get to the bottom of the chat, guys, I will end this show. It's already over 2 hours. Oh, hey, Scott. Scott from, I'm assuming you're still with, what do you call it? Alpha. Oh, man. It's been a long day. Oh, my God. I can't believe I forgot the name of your company. Alpha Point. Alpha Point. Scott from Alpha Points here. There you go. Oh man, I'm sorry, Scott. I cannot recap my position on the ETF. I just have like at least like 7 hours of content on the ETF over the last 2 months. It's everywhere. I mean, the latest ones aren't even in my blog. I promise I will update my blog this week. Just go to my blog, type in the word ETF, and just like try to look through all those videos. I really can't talk about it anymore. I've spent so much time talking about it. It's hard to recap it. And I want to like literally write an article so that it's all my views on the ETF are in print, but I barely have time for videos where I talk randomly. I certainly don't have time to write any articles at the moment. I can't read this comment in the air, but thank you, Garland Key. I will take your offer under advisement, and I will very seriously think about it. All right, let's see what else we got. Why did I leave Wall Street? That's a long conversation. Honestly, I was bored with my job. I wasn't having fun at my job. My job has always been building risk models. And I don't think you realize how boring building risk models actually is. On top of that, I wasn't actually building the risk models. I was responsible for the data that went in and out of those risk models. That was like how I finished. That was like my last job. In my previous job, not only was I responsible for the data going in and out of the risk models, I was also responsible for a lot of the internal development of the financial products, where all internal support tickets went through my team, where I was a manager of, and I had to decide which developer screwed up or the finance guy screwed up, right? Anyway, this is a long conversation. So I wasn't having fun at my job. I really should have, like, after my first 5 years on Wall Street, I should have tried looking for more of a trading job, looking for a hedge fund, looking for something like, more exciting, more trade related than risk related. But I didn't, because I was lazy and I stuck to what I knew. And I've always during my job of working with those risk models, I've always tried to be a trader on the side, and I wasn't doing all that well. Even though I knew what I was doing, I just wasn't making money. So when Bitcoin came along and I got really, really interested in Bitcoin, like everyone else, I drank the Kool-Aid. I thought I would be a millionaire by now with my few Bitcoins, more than a few Bitcoins at the time. And then I learned how your Pokemon game gets reset by making stupid Bitcoin investments, thinking that you will make more Bitcoin. Obviously, we all thought Bitcoin would be $10,000 by now when we were watching the bubble of 2013, and I should have known better as a trader. And I thought that between all those things, right, between Bitcoin and between me quitting my job so I can try to be an independent professional trader, and I also invested in a physical business, which I still have in the tri-state area, which unfortunately did not work out like I planned. And that's where a decent chunk of my savings also went. So I kind of diversified myself into being independent between Bitcoin and working for Bitcoin. Because remember, I did have jobs in Bitcoin. I worked for Cointelegraph. I worked for Brave New Coin. Those were jobs in the Bitcoin space that allowed me to work from home and be independent while making a paycheck. The business that I opened in 2013 in the New York tri-state area, a brick and mortar, again, these were many of my mistakes that led me to this path. And trying to become a professional trader, which I believe I am successful in, that should get 95% of my attention. And unfortunately, that's actually getting 15% of my attention, which is probably why it's not as profitable as I believe it should be. So between all of those things, I thought that I would be an independent business owner, having a steady job that paid me in Bitcoin on the side while focusing on trading. The business didn't quite, it's still around. It's self-sufficient. I no longer fund it. Hopefully it will make some money in the future. But for now, that has sucked up a lot of my capital without a serious return. And because of my Bitcoining and trading, I don't really have the time to put into that business. And I was mostly the money, and my partner is doing all the work. Anyway, so I thought I was fairly diversified to be financially independent, and life doesn't always work out like you draw it up on paper. When you leave, 100, I don't remember how much I was making, 125, 130, whatever it was, right? So I have not been able to make up for the salary that I gave up 2 years ago over the last few years. So that basically puts a strain on my savings. But I enjoy what I do. I like the fact that I don't have a boss. I like the fact that I can get on a plane and travel. It's unfortunate that I have to pay attention to how much that plane ticket actually costs. So that's just a brief explanation as to why I left Wall Street. To answer your question, this can be an hour discussion on its own. I can get way more into detail, but the main answer is I was bored at my job, and instead of looking for a more exciting Wall Street job, I thought that between my independent trading, me working in the Bitcoin space on the side as a content creator, making money, which doesn't happen now, by the way, because now that I'm fully independent, I get a donation every now and then, but that's not that's almost nothing. But I still like that part of it, and a business that wasn't as profitable as well, it's about as profitable as my family told me it was going to be, but we don't always listen to the people around us, so this is what happens. I mean, I'm not mad at Roger. I'm more surprised at Roger Ver about the BU thing. I mean, he's doing what he thinks is right? It's hard for me to be mad at him if he thinks he's doing the right thing. I mean, that's his view. If news comes to light in the future that he was doing something maliciously and like he was doing it on purpose or he was corrupted, which I don't believe, by the way, if news surfaces to light that like he like fractured the network on purpose, I would be angry at him. But if he really believes he's doing what's best for Bitcoin, it's hard for me to be angry at him. I can just be surprised that he's doing it, and I disagree with his views on it. Oh, it's definitely gone too far, that I agree with. Well, here's a comment. Amanda B. Johnson ignores all legitimate criticism of Dash. She's completely sold out. Well, that's true, right? I mean, it's impossible to convince someone of a problem when their life and more important, their salary depends on them not recognizing or admitting the problem. It's just a way of life, right? I don't. I ignore Amanda. I was standing next to her at Acapulco. I just said hi, and that's the end of that. Amanda and I used to write we were like some of the original writers of Cointelegraph. This goes back to like early 2014 days. Oh, why do I love MS Paint? It's convenient and it's easy and it's simple, and I'm comfortable with it. I'm starting to use GIMP for my graphics, but I'm not gonna. If I have to do something real quick, I'm not gonna fire up GIMP. Just for something really, really simple, MS Paint is very convenient. Aren't hard forks inevitable as groups' interests evolved? Not in Bitcoin. If Bitcoin starts to hard fork, the cryptocurrency experiment has fully failed. All right, next question. Do you believe we are overdue for a crash in the traditional markets? No, absolutely not. I don't think we're even close to a crash in the traditional markets. I think the bond markets are going to crash, sending all that money into equities. So talk to me like when the Dow starts to reach 75,000, we can talk about a crash in the equities. I think equities are U.S. equities. Let me rephrase that. U.S. equities. I think U.S. equities are not expensive at all, considering with between like what I said earlier, Google, Amazon, Tesla, Apple, Netflix, considering the expectations of those companies taking over, especially in the third world. No, I don't think we're even close. And also, retail participation isn't in. Everything the average person has been told about the equity markets since 2009 is that the big crash is coming, and none of those people are trading. Like the volume in the equity market today is still lower than it was in 2007, considering how much easier it is to trade now than versus 2007. Technology has evolved a lot in 10 years. So No, we're not. I don't think we're close to an equity crash for years probably. What do you think of the Bitcoin Uncensored podcast thesis that Bitcoin is just for drugs, etc., or are there people using Bitcoin for other stuff? Well, I mean, Bitcoin is for censorship-resistant transactions. I don't believe that Bitcoin is good for Starbucks. I don't care for Purse.io. I've never used it. I never advised people to use it. I never cared for it, right? Now, drugs are part of censorship-resistant transactions. Do I think it's the only use case? No. By the way, I'm going to put a comment here for you. So you want to Google an article called Top Use Cases of or for Bitcoin. I think it's of Bitcoin. Um, if you Google that, it should send you to my blog. I have an article published called The Top Use Cases of Bitcoin. I talk about that. Is drugs the main use case for Bitcoin? I mean, outside of speculative hoarding, probably. I mean, trading is not really a use case, right? I mean, trading is something you do to make more Bitcoin. So we take that to the side. Crypto locker is probably the biggest success story in Bitcoin. Drugs are probably the second. Prostitution might be the third. And just hoarding, right? Like what I do, what Adam Meister does, what Johnny Dilly does, what the guy that debated JD, who debated Roger, like hoarding, right? Like saving Bitcoin. I mean, that's huge. Yeah, drugs are big. To me, drugs isn't what got me into Bitcoin. WikiLeaks was. And I'm not the only one. Like, to me, supporting WikiLeaks is what put Bitcoin on my radar. I wish I bought it that day, right? I think Bitcoin was like 25 cents then. I didn't. But it was the WikiLeaks case that got me here. It wasn't the drugs. I know it's a major component, but it's certainly not the only component. It's the most obvious component. Yeah, Scott. So if you're still here, I mean, a lot of my ETF stuff isn't on my blog yet. I mean, it's so hard for me to just even cross post all my stuff on my blog. But I promise I will get to that this week. My goal till the end of the week will be to fully update my blog. There'll be a lot more ETF stuff there. Yeah, no, it does take years for a business to succeed. I don't know who I was fooling that I thought that a brick and mortar business can actually like take off within a year or two. Finally starting to see some results, but it will still take a while. Like and this is why I get into the arguments with a lot of these socialists. Like, I have employees that make minimum wage, and they're going to make minimum wage for probably 10 years. And if they don't like it, they'll get fired, and new minimum wage employees will take place because the money I invested into this business, if an employee sees me take home, let's say $50,000 a year from this business, I'm going to be like, well, tough shit. I'm going to have to take this salary for like another few years while you're making minimum wage to just recoup not only my initial investment, but all of the opportunity lost while that money was tied up in this business. So it's look, creating a small business is very, very hard. I will forever advise anyone I know not to do it. Aren't the devs slowly leaning towards unlimited? I hope not. If they are, then again, I will hold to my community promise. I will no longer trust the core developers if they lean towards unlimited. The core developers will lose my blind faith that I have in them right now, and I will have no reason to, remain this passionate about Bitcoin if I no longer trust the people programming Bitcoin to its best ability, right? So I will actually get back to focusing on traditional trading. I'll hold on to my Bitcoin. Who knows? Maybe it'll still be worth $100,000 a piece. I would like to be rich. So, but the passion that I have for Bitcoin will just no longer exist because I'm just not going to care anymore. Did you ever check out Cryptoverse? No, I've never heard of it. I don't even remember hearing of it. I have not had time. Why isn't this on Exotica TV? Because my current hardware that I'm streaming this on cannot handle both streaming and internal recording. I have attempted this several times and it doesn't work. When I upgrade my hardware, I will probably move this channel to Audica. I think I'm not going to do Exotica. It's fun, but I think I want to keep this a little more professional. So if Audica is fully functional without the adult content, I will probably move this to Audica when my hardware is capable of handling both live streaming and internal recording. Do I think lending on Poloniex is too risky? Absolutely. I'm not even going to elaborate that. It's not a hedge. You can't hedge Poloniex stealing your money or Poloniex getting hacked. So lending the money is irrelevant when the actual platform itself is the risk, not the Bitcoin. That's it's like trying to diversify. It's like trying to diversify your risk of getting stung by one red ant by walking around the snake pit. Like that's not really diversification. I spent like 40 minutes earlier this episode talking about Dash. So Vinay Puranik, who asked the question, please rewatch this video. I think it was one of the few first things I talked about when I started off the Q&A. I know this video is now 2.5 hours long. I am pushing Bitcoin uncensored territory here, which I had no intention of doing. But and I am winding down to the bottom of the chat, so this won't last long. I talked a lot about Dash this episode, so just please rewind. If Bitcoin forks, don't you get double the coins? So you would have coins on the unlimited chain and then on the core chain. While that is true, that is not why I came to Bitcoin. I did not come to Bitcoin to hard fork. I came to Bitcoin to see if a technological, immutable blockchain consensus can change the world. If Bitcoin can fork into 2 viable chains, all the reasons for me being in Bitcoin are gone. So I have no reason to stay in Bitcoin. Will I sell my Bitcoin? Probably not. I'm gonna hold on to them till the bitter end. But that is not what I want at all. I don't even want to consider that as an option. Oh God, my concerns on GBTC. This is the Barry Silbert Bitcoin Trust. Oh man, again, this video is already 2.5 hours long, guys. I don't know how much longer I can do this. I have lots of concerns with GBTC. I don't even know where to start. So, and my understanding of GBTC might be wrong, but my understanding of GBTC, I don't even know how to sum this up. There is other content on this. I'll try to sum it up real quick, but okay, so here we go. So you have to be a high net worth individual to get into the trust. So you have $25,000. You get into the trust and you get the GBTC shares, which you cannot sell for 1 year, right? And okay, fine. So you got in and you can't sell for 1 year. After the 1 year ends, you can stay with those shares or you can now sell them. Now, I was under the impression that if you sell them, Barry Silbert would put Bitcoin back into circulation. And by the way, Barry isn't holding on to the Bitcoin. I believe Zappo is the custodian of the Bitcoin, from my understanding. And I could be wrong. By the way, everything I say here could be wrong. I have not had time to talk to Barry because I'm just one person, right? I don't have a team of people I can delegate this to. So Zappo is holding on to it. So right there, you have a risk of someone else holding on to your private keys, and that someone else is out of Hong Kong. So now it's Hong Kong jurisdiction, which is, I always say quasi-China organization. I mean, like if China shows up at the Zappo office and tells them we're taking the funds, what the hell is Barry going to do about it? Nothing, right? So that's a risk right there, in my opinion. Again, this is all speculative, right? So that's one side of the risk. Now, an investor buys minimum $25,000 worth of Bitcoin shares from the fund, and Barry, buys the Bitcoin to hold it for them through Zappo. Fine. A year later, that person wants to sell. I was always under the impression that he would get his either cash back, or he can request the Bitcoin to be delivered to him. Or if he wants the cash back, then he sells the Bitcoin. Barry would sell the Bitcoin, put the Bitcoin back into circulation, and give cash to the original investor. But that's not what happens. After 1 year, the investor was to get out of his Bitcoin position. Those Bitcoins become available to anyone with an E-Trade account that can now buy those shares on the open market. That is a huge, huge, huge problem in two ways. One, I don't see any mechanism how this Bitcoin goes back into the global circulation of the Bitcoin economy, creating an ever and ever bigger honeypot over at Zappo. That's one problem. And that honeypot could be hacked internally, externally, or government actors seizure, which is a worry of mine. Now, because that investor after 1 year can sell these shares on the open market, that means it's a steamit situation, that the supply is contracted. The early steamit situation, like the pre 2017, right? So like the mid 2016 steamit situation, where there was so much demand but no supply because it's stuck in a 2-year power up, right? So in the case of Barry Silbert, it's the same Zcash bullshit, right? Where there's all this demand and then one Zcash gets mined, and all you have is one Zcash trying to be split amongst 100 people that want it. So that's what happens to GBTC, where you have this very, very small pool of people that are selling the GBTC shares, but the amount of people wanting to buy those GBTC shares after 1 year of, unliquidatable shares, the demand on the open market is so big because there's no ETF. Like the Winklevoss didn't get their ETF approved. So all you have is Barry's product, which is so contracted by the amount of shares on the open market, it creates a skewed demand compared to supply, causing the price to go out of control. In addition, all of the value in this ETF is registered value. So you have to pay taxes on this value, not to mention the management fee of Barry Silbert. So that's another reason to raise the price, because if you have to pay 20% of capital gains on these shares, you're going to want to recoup that by trying to sell it at a 20% premium. So you see how this shit starts to get out of control in a hurry, creating this skewed premium versus the underlying price of Bitcoin. Now, had the Winklevoss ETF been approved, GBTC shares completely go to shit, because now you can arbitrage on E-Trade between the coin ETF and the GBTC ETF. And people would immediately arbitrage the hell out of it. The value of GBTC would immediately drop because no one would pay the premium for the GBTC shares if they can buy the coin shares at a significantly cheaper price. And And with more ETFs, the more you can arbitrage between them, basically. And then you got to talk about, well, would the coin ETF have a cash out mechanism, right? So would the coin ETF be creating a bigger and bigger honeypot forever, right? Like, I haven't seen the prospectus. Would a person holding coin shares be able to turn those shares in and request the cash? And if that, again, right, if you sell those coin shares, they immediately go to the next guy. Do you have a mechanism to request the private key of your share of the coin ETF? If the answer is no, then you would also be creating a bigger and bigger honeypot. Like, new shares of coin would be created, and old shares of coin would only be sold to other people. And again, where is the mechanism to put Bitcoins back in the hands of people that want to hold the Bitcoin? We're centralizing Bitcoin in a government-controlled entity, creating a bigger and bigger honeypot of Bitcoin, not only for internal hackers, for external hackers, and for government confiscation or seizure or whatever. And this is the biggest reason why I was against the Bitcoin ETF, if Scott is still on, which I doubt. And there's other reasons as well. There's like infinite number of reasons. It was just bad across the board. All right, I think I got, but again, I've answered all these questions in the past. I know a lot of people are new and I'm repeating myself. And this is another reason why I started Crypto Scam. So I should really do Crypto Scam ETF episode. So all my thoughts are there and I can just start posting one link, kind of like what I do with Dash now. What do I think of ANT signaling for Bitcoin Unlimited? Again, I talked about all of this earlier this episode. Please rewind the episode. You will hear my view on Ant Pool signaling for Bitcoin Unlimited. Also, I've talked about this several times on the Bitcoin Group, which is our weekly Friday podcast on the World Crypto Network YouTube channel. You haven't heard of CV? ? Bullshit. I don't know what CV is. I'm guessing it's that crypto something. I mean, if I say something and you think I'm lying and I call bullshit, my answer to that is sure, think what you like. I just came back from the anarchist conference where people thought I was a Fed and a government shill. So it's, look, people will come up with whatever conspiracies suit their needs. So that's all I can say. I'm not going to talk about Dash or Ethereum anymore. Please rewind the episode. I've spoke about this more than I should throughout the last 2.5 hours now. Do I Snapchat? No, I haven't had time to Snapchat. I don't have a Snapchat account. I have a Twitter. I haven't had time to get Instagram or Snapchat. I probably should, but I don't know. I don't have the time, so I probably won't. Who are your favorite economists? Oh, man. The only one I really like, and again, I haven't even had time. I mean, like, my morning ritual was reading Martin Armstrong's blog, and I'm like 3 months behind on that. Now, I wouldn't pay for, I mean, I don't pay for his material, but I really like what Martin Armstrong says about economics. I really like Mish. Again, someone I haven't had time to read in years. So Google Mish, M-I-S-H. I really liked Mish. I like Martin Armstrong. Prior to that, I mean, Milton Friedman is great. So I mean, if you can go back to their work, those are pretty much the three that I would pay attention to if I could. And Milton Friedman is no longer alive, but I would pay attention to his former work. I also believe that Facebook owns Instagram, but I'm pretty sure of that. Tone, have you considered there may be a small chance that you may not have the perfect understanding of how Bitcoin Unlimited would benefit or damage Bitcoin? From that standpoint, why do you Why are you so adamant about it? Thank you. Well, sure. I mean, I'm adamant about it. And is it possible that I don't have the full understanding of Bitcoin Unlimited's benefits? Yeah, of course it's possible. Do I have the time to put into learning more about Bitcoin Unlimited? No, unfortunately, I do not. I've already done the research I needed to do to make up my mind. So unless someone can show me something I haven't seen yet that would convince me, and I doubt that. And again, right, like people think you should know everything, but that's impossible. And I admit I can't know everything until I see other people that I trust and are more technical than me start to give Bitcoin Unlimited more credit. I have no reason to do so. So Zappo custodian risk a real problem? Do you like the Zappo service compared to other comparable ones? I mean, Zappo is probably one of your best custodians, but I don't know. I have no idea, guys. I'm not an expert in Bitcoin security. I'm happy. My Bitcoin has never been hacked. I've only stupidly lost it in trying to play VC, but I'm happy not a single Satoshi of mine has ever been hacked. And I don't know how good Zappo's security is. I have no idea. I mean, I've met their CEO, I've met their COO. I mean, I don't want to say I'm friends with those guys, but I know them. Can probably get them on the line if I was really interested. I have no idea. Look, you want to be your own custodian. If someone else is your custodian, you have a problem. The only third-party custodian I would trust is the liquid box, and that's only because I trust the people making the liquid box. I mean, do I trust the Zappo CEO and CTO, even though I've hung out with them, I had drinks with them? No, of course I don't. It's like trusting Big Vern. You don't know what's going to happen. Are they the best custodian out there? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. Is holding your Bitcoin there a risk? It's a risk for me. That's why I don't do it. I hold my own Bitcoin. I wouldn't trust Zappo with my Bitcoin. I mean, it's nice that Barry trusts him with his Bitcoin. He has the resources to vet them as a trusted custodian. I don't. I would yield to Barry Silbert's expertise that Zappo is the best custodian on the market, but I wouldn't trust Zappo with my Bitcoin as much as I would trust Barry with my Bitcoin, right? That's all right. Something Satoshi should have thought of. They also pay developers from reward. See, it's very debatable whether you want your developers to be paid from the mining reward. Very, very debatable. Very debatable. I don't know if that's a good idea, because then you have these perverse incentives, right? And then you have core developers wanting large fees so that they can get more from the mining reward, right, or from the fees. I mean, you don't know. You have no idea. What's the best way to secure your Bitcoin? Should nodes be paid though? No, I don't think nodes should be paid. I think nodes should be voluntary. I'm planning to start running my full node again. Again, waiting for some hardware upgrades. No, I think it should be voluntary. I don't think nodes should be paid. You either support the network or you don't. What's the best way to secure your Bitcoins? Honestly, I'm not an expert in Bitcoin security. Hardware wallets, I guess, are good. I'm a little too paranoid to trust. I mean, I trust a few wallets out there. We don't know. We don't know what's the best way to secure your Bitcoins. We may never know. The best way to secure your Bitcoins is to not tell anybody you have Bitcoin, which is a mistake that I constantly make, right? Your best security is like I tell people, right? And I probably shouldn't even say this on video. The best way to get away with murder is to not tell anyone. The best way to secure your Bitcoin is to not tell anyone you even heard of Bitcoin. Stick to that model, and hold on to your own private keys. Someone says, I almost lost my paper wallet. That's why I don't like paper wallets. I'm always scared I'm going to lose it or I'm going to set it on fire by accident. No, I'm not a fan of paper wallets. Am I too honest? Yeah, probably. How long until Bitcoin reaches 50 million users? I don't know what 50 million users. I don't know how you measure that, because anyone can have 1,000 wallets. So I don't know at which point that happens. You'll have no idea when we reach 50 million users. And also, what's the definition of a user, right? According to Roger Ver, I am not a user of Bitcoin, and that's fine. Like I'm okay with that criticism, right? So who's a user of Bitcoin? Like, are we ever going to reach 50 million Roger Veers? Obviously not, right? So before you ask a question, well, we'll reach 50 million users, you have to define what a user is. And I don't think anyone really knows. All right, guys. I think I've talked nonstop for almost 3 hours. This is why people have co-hosts. Thank you for tuning in. 100 viewers, so obviously this content is valuable. I have no idea if anyone will ever watch this video in full once it now that it's over. But thank you for tuning in. Please support the Bitcoin community by watching the movie Magic Money. If anyone asks you, are there any consultants to explain Bitcoin to high net worth individuals that are interested in fully understanding it, please recommend me. That's probably one of the ways I would like to be a better contributor. I am not going to walk into some bodega trying to convince them to accept Bitcoin for a cup of coffee, but I'll gladly have a long sit down with rich, high net worth individuals, explaining to them why Bitcoin is popular, why Bitcoin is important, why censorship resistant transactions are important. And Bitcoin is probably not even for a guy like me. Bitcoin is for more, look, a lot of these people hate the rich, but they're the reasons why some of your stuff exists, because they need it first and they're willing to, don't hate the guy in first class. The guy in first class is paying a lot of money for that ticket so that you in coach can fly across the country for a few $100, right? That's because the guy in first class is paying a few $1,000 to be on the same airplane as you in a little more comfort, right? So I do not have a problem Bitcoin being for the rich elite for the time being, while things like segregated witness and Lightning Network make it better and cheaper for everyone else. All right, guys, on that note, I will sign off. I will try to update my blog. I'm clearly a month behind now, so people can do a search for ETF, do a search for Bitcoin Unlimited, and I really want to get that entry in there, fact checking myself and Roger on the debates, and that's a lot of work that I need to get on, and also my traditional finance. So we'll see how much more content in the Bitcoin space I'll be able to pull off. But thank you for tuning in. Still have 100 viewers at 99 now. And Tone finally signing off. Good luck trading, guys. And hopefully we'll get SegWit and price hits my $2,000 target by mid-August. Bye-bye.